What is going on, guys? Taylor Stuber with sharpsportsnetwork.com bringing you some of my favorite plays for this Tuesday 2-game NBA slate. I know it's very sad, only 2 games on the slate, but tomorrow we get to look forward to a 14-game slate and then no games on Thursday, unfortunately. But I hope you guys enjoy your time with your family, then watch some football. Those NFL Thursday slates are always the best. And I didn't make a video yesterday, but today I am here to announce that we are starting our Black Friday deal. If you use code Black Friday when checking out at sharpsportsnetwork.com, you get everything for 25% off. We dropped the NFL pass down to $25 for the rest of the week, and we are doing a giveaway. And we're doing a ton of giveaways throughout this week. If you don't follow me on Twitter already, follow me at Taylor Stuber. I'm giving away a lot of cash, season passes, free shirts. Because I will be live streaming on Twitch 2 hours before every single slate this week, giving away cash passes in shirts. So make sure to be there. It's completely free to join. And then we are selling our shirts for 25% off this week using code Black Friday. Everybody who buys a shirt is entered into a raffle at the end of the week. Whoever wins the raffle receives $300, both NBA and NFL season passes, and will receive each shirt that we have, and we have 8 of those, so you'll receive 8 shirts on top of that. These are the shirts right now. If you guys want to check us out, sharpsportsnetwork.com. So if you ever thought about joining the team, now's the time. 25% off from now until Cyber Monday. So you got about 6 more days left. Make sure to take advantage. But yeah, let's just get right into this slate. I think it's really interesting just because we can play my guy Luka Doncic today. We got that Luka Doncic shirt in the shop if you guys want to check it out. I mean, the guy's just an absolute freak this year. He may be overachieving in a sense in terms of how well his field goal percentage has been so far this year, but he's averaging 1.78 fantasy points per minute. And one of the reasons why I don't think he's going to regress all that much is because he's a near 40% usage rating and assist percentage of 49.5%. Defense could be somewhat tough on him against the Clippers, but I don't really think they're going to sell out to stop him. Although they do have great defenders in Paul George, Kawhi Leonard, I guess Patrick Beverley to an extent. I don't know how you guys feel about how good he is defensively, but regardless, they have a bunch of great defenders on there. But I think in cash games, you don't overthink it. You just play Luka Doncic, because on these 2-game slates, you really just want to get the most raw points as you possibly can, because those guys become much more valuable. We saw Giannis Antetokounmpo the other day. He put up 80 points on that 2-game slate, and if you didn't have him, you were drawing dead. So I think in cash games, you go ahead and play Luka Doncic at 11.4K. They're still implied for 112.75 points, so it's not like they have a paltry low implied team total. So I'm going to go back to the well with Luka Doncic. I do every single day. I remember when people were sweating paying just over 9K for him just because he is such a young player, but he's pretty ahead of his time, only 20 years old, and performing like this, it's incredible. So yeah, I'm going to get Luka Doncic. I'm probably going to be overexposed to him in GPPs, and then in cash games, if you are playing cash on a 2-game slate, I don't see how you get away from him. On the opposite side, if you're playing Luka, you can really only choose between one Kawhi Leonard and Paul George. It's really hard because there's no injuries, no value on the slate so far. And I don't expect anything to really come up. So you're going to have to choose between one of these guys, if any of them. They have a decent matchup against Dallas. Dallas has been pretty stout on defense so far this year. Implied team total of 114.25 points. From what I'm gathering, it seems like Paul George is going to be a bit more popular than Kawhi Leonard. So if I can get Kawhi Leonard at lower ownership, I think I'm going to go there. We've seen that they've played 3 games together so far this year. And in those 3 games, if we go over here to add more funds, if you go back to the 20th where they first played that first game, so you get a sample size of 3 games. Paul George has a 27.9% usage rating to Kawhi Leonard's 32.8%. So I know Kawhi has a bit higher of a rebounding rate, and Paul George has quite a bit higher assist percentage compared to Kawhi Leonard. So I think in cash games, I think Paul George is probably the safer play given the assist floor and a decent usage rating compared to Kawhi Leonard. And you're saving $600 on DraftKings opposed to Kawhi Leonard. But I think the upside, and if we get him at lower ownership, Kawhi Leonard's the guy I want to go to. He's averaging 1.2 fantasy points per minute across these 3 games. 1.29 rather, 1.25 for Paul George. So I think the floor is probably a bit better for Paul George just because he facilitates a bit more. But for upside reasons, I think I'll go with a guy like Kawhi Leonard, who in these past 3 games has not been shooting all that well. So same thing with Paul George. I think both these guys are going to regress positively because they haven't been shooting that well, but they have been shooting a lot. So that's definitely promising. Lou Williams, another guy that I just think is way too cheap on DraftKings. He's only 6.3K, averaging 1.1 fantasy points per minute since these guys have come back. And we've seen the minutes have been strong, 37, 34, and then only played 25 minutes against New Orleans, but he lost a lot of those minutes due to blowout. So I don't know how you get away from him at 6.3K. I think one of the better strategies today actually is to play Luka Doncic and then really don't go above a guy like Kristaps Porzingis and then go more in the mid-range because we don't have any injuries today. We'll look at the injury report right here. We did have Maxi Kleber as questionable coming into the day, was upgraded to probable, so this guy is probably going to play, so that downgrades Dwight Powell. Maxi Kleber, actually somewhat interesting. He has been a better per minute producer than a guy like Dwight Powell, and he's a little bit cheaper, so I don't mind Maxi Kleber. He's definitely worth a dart throw. No injuries on the Clippers. I mean, Shamet is still out, but we've known that. None on Denver and none on the Wizards, so really no injuries today. Nobody's even questionable. So unless, and this is the latest injury report, so unless we get something new, I'm probably going to go more in the mid-range. And then the very few values that there are today, I mean, maybe a guy like Gary Harris, he has a usage percentage of 14.5%. It's been bad. That's down 5% from last year. But it's hard for me not to like him on this 2-game slate with there's absolutely no value. He's probably going to be the highest owned player on the slate. Would not be surprised. In GVPs, I could see getting away from him. But at 4.2K, he has been shooting well this year. It's just, like I said, 14.5% usage rating this year as opposed to a near 20% last year. And really nothing has changed on this team. So I think that things will end up regressing back to that 18-19% that he was getting, and the matchup doesn't get any better against Washington. Denver is the slowest team in the league. Washington, the 5th fastest. So massive pace up spot for the Denver Nuggets. Their implied team totals at 119 right now. The Wizards allow the 3rd highest effective field goal percentage at 55.5%, just behind Charlotte and Golden State, and we know those are the teams that we're targeting this year. So I think Gary Harris, for his respective price on all the sites, even over here on FanDuel where it's funny, look at the pricing difference. We got Brad Beal, Lou Williams, and then go all the way down to Gary Harris, and then a bunch of garbage. I mean, it starts at Gary Harris with the garbage, but at 4.5K, it's hard to get away from him, especially in this game environment for Denver. And then I'll leave it with, I think Paul Millsap is one of the better plays on the day at 5.4K. I'm probably going to get a lot of these cheaper Denver pieces to get, so I can get up to the guys in the other game like Kristaps Porzingis, Kawhi Leonard, Paul George, Luka Doncic, and then I'm going to take the cheap pieces from Denver and Paul Millsap and Gary Harris. Paul Millsap has been playing pretty solid minutes lately. He's been very consistent. We saw earlier in the season he was kind of getting his minutes taken away from Jeremy Grant, but if they're not involved in blowouts, he's typically playing those 28 to 32 minutes a game, and that's plenty to get it done, especially in this matchup against Washington where we want to target bigs against them. And I know that drives me to the point of Nikola Jokic. I just think at 9.8K it's a bit too expensive, even though I say it time and time again, Charlotte and Washington are the 2 teams we want to target bigs against. It just sucks that he just seemingly doesn't seem all that involved because he doesn't need to be. It's not like he's being lazy or anything. His team is just so great and they have so many good players that he doesn't really need to be needed all the time. So on a game-to-game basis, he is pretty volatile on how used he's going to be in that offense. I think that in tournaments, he's going to be extremely low owned and the matchup literally doesn't get any better. So if there's ever a spot to play, take Nikola Jokic, especially in tournaments, it's this game against Washington, and I'm gonna have a good bit of him tonight. But in cash games, I'm probably going to avoid him just because I'm paying up for a guy like Luka Doncic. And then I might not even get up above Kristaps Porzingis, and then maybe I play Paul George. But yeah, that's my general thoughts. I will be live streaming at 5:30 p.m. Central Time. This lock is 2.5 hours later than usual. I'll be giving away some cash, some season passes, some shirts. If you guys want to check us out, it's over there, twitch.tv/Sharp Sports Network. Links are all up in the description. If you have any questions at all, just message me on Twitter at Taylor Suber. Get you guys taken care of. So best of luck today, guys, and until next time, peace.